Coaching Game. I'm Laurie Lawson, and I have a great guest thing going on tonight. First of all, Terry Yoffe from Coaches, my co-host and Coaches Creating Change.
Hi, Laurie.
And the big muckety muck at ICF Global, Magda Mook. Wow, we are so thrilled to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me here.
She's going to reveal all the secrets. No, I'm just kidding.
just some secrets.
But she is. She's in town, and the ICF headquarters is in Lexington, Kentucky. And so Terry and I decided we got to have her for a guest. So we're excited about this. Magda, tell us a little bit about how long have you been in ICF?
It's been 13 years, almost to a day. I celebrated my 13th anniversary just a week ago.
Whoa.
So it's been a long time and a lot of changes, not only for ICF as an organization, but for coaching as a field.
Yeah, that's what I think we'd all love to hear some of the things you've seen. And because Terry, you've been a coach for 15 years.
15
I've been
years.
14.
My work anniversary.
Oh my
this
gosh,
year
everybody's
just
celebrating.
came up.
Everybody's celebrating here. Yeah, come to think of it, mine is too in November. But so yeah, what changes have you seen? Because you started out as executive assistant, right? And when coaching was just getting started, and then
Yes, I was an assistant executive director when I first started, and for the last 7 years, I've had a privilege of being an executive director. But as we are approaching the 25th anniversary of ICF in existence in a couple of years,
believe that.
I also, thought about our 20th anniversary and my own, and thinking about some numbers that are just amazing to show the growth of coaching and ICF. So let's take ICF. First. When I first joined, we had about 8,000 members. We are at 32,000 right now.
Wow.
We had around 1,000 credentialed coaches. We just celebrated our 26,000 credentialed coaches around the globe. And something very, very exciting, I think, is that when I first started and when ICF first started, we're predominantly North American organization. Now we have coaches in over 140 countries. And what's even more exciting, more than half of our member population resides outside of North America. So the global reach of coaching profession is just amazing and tremendous.
That is so amazing. Yeah. I'm still astounded at the 8,000 because I thought I was the only coach in the world when I graduated. It's like I'm a pioneer. Not really. People were here before though.
But we were close.
Yeah.
Close. Back when I think we graduated, coaching was undefined. Meaning you're a coach, are you a baseball coach, are you a football coach? But now it's okay.
Yeah.
It's well known.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Oh, yes. I remember even when I first joined, we defined coaching primarily by what it was not. It's not mentoring, it's not consulting, it's not counseling, it's not therapy. So we had to very much defend ourselves. Nowadays we have research, of course, that proves efficacy of coaching. We have a well-established definition of coaching, and the awareness of coaching is tremendously growing around the globe as well. We've doing a study with PricewaterhouseCoopers every couple of years on the global awareness of coaching. And when we did our first study 6 years ago, we did not know what the answer is going to be. And the lawyers say don't answer a question, you don't know the answer to. So we were really anticipating that response with certain level of trepidation, and we did learn that over 50% of global population in countries we researched were aware of coaching. 6 years later, we're at 66%. That's unprecedented growth in the awareness of this service that we offer. You ask about how coaching changed. Well, I was reminiscing in that even the term internal coach was not well known or used. There was no talk about organizations using coaching, or mind you, building coaching cultures. There was no notion of managers and leaders using coaching skills. So really the field grew tremendously over this last several years. And I think that this is interesting to see how ICF as an organization and coaching is responding to the demand of the marketplace.
So would you like to share a little bit of the ICF and then how you're responding? So where is the coaching culture come over these 25 years, but more in landing on today's world, which is, I think, so different than when we started coaching.
Well, remember when we started coaching, we were the punishment. Organizations would go, if you don't see a coach, you're going to be fired, and it was like, so we were the people who were like, oh, we were the people with the whips, you know. Now
the deciding factor.
Change, yes, exactly, and it was like I didn't like that position at all. But so yeah, it would be interesting. But I know you guys they never rest, and they're constantly enhancing and working on, and so give us a brief history of what changes have you seen? That's a great question.
That is very true. That coaching has been perceived as punitive. Or remedial. So coach was invited to coach somebody out of a problem or somebody out of the organization, if you will, or at least that was the perception. And since coaching started being available more as a tool to be better, to go further, to dream,
enhance,
and exactly.
Their skill set.
And another big change, I think, happened when probably you remember these days that coaching has been available only to top level individuals, which possibly was even slightly arrogant and unfair to think that one person could entirely change the organization and the outcomes for the organization. Yeah. So organizations started adopting at least a mindset at first that coaching has to be available to other people within. That maybe all VPs should be coached. Maybe certain teams should be coached. So team coaching is another new thing coming in. So we've been doing a series of studies with the Human Capital Institute since 2014 about use of coaching in organizations. And what we learned is that there are some organizations that are much better in using coaching in their overall structure. And what we started calling it is the emergence of coaching culture in organizations. With HCI, we developed a index of what defines coaching culture. And the organizations are self-reporting on that scale. But the important characteristics are that there is a dedicated line item in the budget. It always comes to money at some point, right?
Of course.
That there is executive sponsorship. So there is a champion high up for coaching, and that coaching is available to just about every level within the organization. So it transcends through the entire enterprise. And what we learned is that the organizations with strong coaching culture enjoy much greater engagement of their employees. And, of course, that goes hand in hand with a better financial results for the organization as compared to organizations of similar size in similar sectors. So, to me, it's music to our ears because that means that there is a business case for coaching.
Let me ask you something. Do you feel, what came first? Because emotional intelligence is such a hot topic now. Do you feel coaching sort of paved the way for that?
What we know also from research is that there is a new, and not necessarily research in coaching, but overall in management, there is a desire for new type of leadership. And that new type of leadership points to emotional intelligence, points to self-awareness, points to being inclusive in your style. So all of that, we know coaching has tremendous success in helping people realize where they are and helping people improve if that's the goal. So I think that coaching and emotional intelligence are going very much hand in hand as sister and brother, and one helping another.
Yeah. It's interesting because we were talking about this at lunch. Was Brené Brown, of course, is a pioneer in the whole vulnerability, Daring Greatly, and she has several other books, and she just has a new one, Dare to Lead. And the skill sets that she talked about, one was vulnerability, which goes with emotional intelligence, trust, and several others that I don't quite recall off the top of my head. So, they kind of go together, that whole emotional intelligence. But how many companies really are creating that type of environment. That's always a questionable
I
thought.
think that more are trying to or are really aspiring to, because trying is not the plan. So more and
Just
more
had that conversation with the light situation here.
Right. So trying is not necessarily a plan, but since there is more information about the success of organizations using or building coaching cultures, I think more are either intrigued or even taking it as an invitation to test their own preparedness and also what needs to be done to change it. It goes hand in hand with we heard it all, millennials are coming.
Right.
Well, they are, and it's not that
They're here.
they're here.
They're here.
By 2025, they're going to represent 75% of entire workforce and significant percentage of the purchasing power, which is even more important. So what we know is that their values are not necessarily any different. They want the same thing. And another research with HCI, what they want, much like their colleagues from other generations, to be heard, to have a voice in decisions. They want also their managers to care about their career pathing. And they also want to be evaluated not on number of hours they work, but the outcomes they achieve.
Made.
Yes. Yeah. So the old style of leadership is not working for them.
No.
They want that inclusion. They want that, let's be a part of a solution together. So coaching definitely supports tremendously building of that new leader or a leader of the future, no matter, how old the person may be in a, people's age.
People's age.
Interesting to see the flow of where coaching has come. And, one of the other things we were talking about was, as coaches, how do we impact and rise up to the landscape that's before us now? When, again, I could be really wrong here, but when you think about a lot of the old-timer coaches, whatever that means, people that are there from the beginning, they were schooled a certain way. If they're still coaching, how do they make shifts to coach today's world of business? Because I think that, I don't know, when you've come to a place, we're not the whole younger generation, us, we're kind of in the middle, but maybe more flexible and agile on how we coach, that we have the ability. So, it's a different landscape, a different business model to navigate today.
It is, and I think that this is beautiful parallel with coaching. We ask our clients to be agile and adjusting, and we have to do the same.
There's some that don't.
Well,
this coaches is that they have I didn't mean to interrupt
possibly,
you, but are this is the way I coach.
I think that there are two things to say about that. One is that ICF, of course, is proud of requiring continuous education. It's part of our code of ethics. It's part of our requirement for renewing professional credentials. So a coach, like any other professional, has to really stay in the now of what's new, what's exciting, because the other side of it is that the marketplace will verify them. If they are not meeting a client where the client is, I would predict, if you will, crystal ball, that their business practice may not be as thriving because of the approach that may be a little outdated. And we as organization, of course, try to bring that new research, try to bring the evolution of coaching, if you will, to the knowledge and awareness of all of our members, inviting them to adjust or to at least evaluate where their own practice is vis-a-vis what the marketplace seems to be requesting, demanding, and being hungry for.
I love that because as Terry was talking, I'm thinking, well, thank God for ICF because no, they do. They you said they evaluate the standards every 3 years, and so tell us what is ICF doing to enhance and help people grow and mature and keep in line with what's going on nationally, internationally
you mean
now.
Coaches?
Coaches? Yeah. Coach, oh yeah. Hopefully we'll forward it on. Yes.
Actually, yes, and that's a very fair question, coaches, because I sense that ICF has a dual role. We are the Association of Individual Coach Practitioners, and yet we also are. As our mission suggests, trying to see coaching being an integral part of society. That means that we have a certain obligation to still continue educating the marketplace about what coaching is not, and very much to your current question, how to choose a coach that is right for you. What questions to ask, what to expect, what to know not to expect. Coaching is not the silver bullet, how to make sure that the coach has credentials for what they are offering. Check references. So that we're trying to, and we also are working with general public with our PR efforts and marketing efforts to have a greater impact, if you will, with a lot of our studies, a lot of our research, which brings credibility to coaches, and in particular ICF coaches that follow ICF standards. And on the coach side, there are a lot of benefits, and I start with the fact that yes, we are the gold standard for professional coaching. We're recognized as such. There is no other organization of our size, of our influence. So being able to say with credibility and credence that we are making sure that our standards are current. We are evaluating them just to make sure that we're not missing something. Our standards are as much of a guide for the coach as it is for the client who are expecting something from a coach. And we talked a little bit about the 26,000 credentialed coaches. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal because that means that 26,000 people are actively maintaining their credential. So we also work on creating the education for them of how to stay current in their practice, and something we also touched upon during lunch, that how do they run successful business? We want coaching to be thriving, we want society to be thriving, we want coaches to be thriving. So we learned that many coaches with greatest aspirations and ideas do not necessarily have the same kind of knowledge or passion on the side of running a business. So as an organization, we also offer the, what we call it the Business Development Series, and we're going to run them again next January. We offer educational events. One will be starting very soon, our Advanced Series. So we really want our coaches to be knowledgeable, to be aware, and also to know where to find information. Yeah. Our entire research portal has, I can't remember right now, about over 3,000 entries. So we know that our members, coaches, are curious. That's what we also ask our clients to be, remain curious. So we invite our coaches to be curious by curating a lot of content they can use for their own careers.
Interesting, wow.
Multifaceted. I'm glad you said that. You changed it because I didn't even think about what you were doing with the community. I was thinking, what do you do for coaches? Right. Oh my gosh, it's like you must be very tired.
Yes, but never a dull moment, and that's what makes it so fascinating.
From the organizational and the business side, right? We've talked a little bit about the coaching. What do you think people in organizations are looking for, because I know you've got your hand on your fingers on that pulse, in a coach when they go to look for one? What do you think their expectations are? Because it's different than what it was, and as I think about, a coach asks a lot of questions, and then what's that? So I know that's changed, which I'm thrilled about. But
what they look for? Well, of course, every particular coaching engagement depends on the goals set forth
I
by the
understand
organization. What the clients tend to come to coaching for is self-confidence, is better communication. Communication comes up almost every time.
Right.
Better teamwork. And then there could be more specific goals. But what they also look for is very much a partner in conversation. They really do. A partner in conversation. Somebody who is not tied or attached to the outcome. Somebody who can be a very sometimes harsh critic of what's going on and a mirror to what's going on. Somebody who sees it from the outside perspective. And at the same time, I think this is the change that you're alluding to. The coach, should they have knowledge that would be useful, they certainly should be and do share it. Interesting piece about evaluation of coaching is, and that's our work with PricewaterhouseCoopers, because you typically think about return on investment, and everybody's talking, what about the return on investment of coaching? Well, sometimes it's not that black and white to determine the ROI in its pure economic sense. So with PwC, we developed a different measure, and it's return on expectation. As you as coaches know, the goal of coaching rarely is dollars and cents. It could be that better communication. It could be that better teamwork. It translates into bottom line at some point. But for a coachee, and immediate result for the client is, did it change? Did it move?
Right. Did it move the needle at some point?
So that return on expectation
ROE.
seems to be very well accepted and adopted. New way of looking for the effectiveness of coaching.
Do clients ever want, and I don't know that you know this answer, but I know you've got a whole length and breadth of understanding, a coach that, yes, they have a partnership and a conversation, but kind of a give and take, where it never used to not be the case a long time ago, where a coach can offer up, maybe not advice, but help them with a strategy, or help them and maybe not say, well, I think you should take that job, which would not be, in the best interest of anyone. But anything short of that.
So two things to answer that. One is that a lot can be arranged in the contracting. If you contract for coaching and a little bit of consulting, so be it. But just contract for it. And the second part is that sharing knowledge was never prohibited. It's a bit of a folklore, because if a client is stuck and offering some piece of fact, experience, can help them find the way out of their stuckiness, then it's absolutely something that the coach should do. They certainly still do ask permission to do that.
Right.
And so it's but fluidity of this conversation is definitely greater. And what we also know is that coaches typically, in general, offer 2 or 3 different services. In addition to coaching. That may be research, that may be consulting, that could be teaching, training. And an easy assumption may be it is because they can't quite make living doing coaching. And for some, it may be we just talk about this business acumen. But frankly, the other side of that coin is because this is a combination that clients enjoy.
Right.
So if we again talk about meeting the client where they are, that may be a winning combination for the client as well.
I do a lot of mentoring, and I always tell people, no matter what you're going to use your coaching for, and you could be a purified 100% coach, whatever you're going to be doing, it's going to be enhanced. You're going to know how to do it better. So if you are doing consulting and you know the coaching skills, bravo. If you're, if you've been hired to do a specific job, and I understand the purity factor where people go, oh, you can't
Right.
Don't put this hat on, don't put that
Right.
hat on. But I think the combination,
Right.
it's like I always thought my favorite medical doctor was one with a foot in both worlds,
Right.
traditional and alternative. And I think I see that as a coach too. It's like whatever you're doing, I think these skills just, I think coaching is a fantastic profession, but I think the skills just have to, whatever you're doing, make it much better.
Well, this is why we have this advent of leaders and managers using coaching skills. They are not coaches.
Right.
Right.
They use coaching skills to enhance whatever they do on a daily basis and help their employees to also achieve their
Yeah.
results, their best results.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I find that when I'm coaching, and I coach individuals, I don't go into companies, if they have something else, I'll say, so might I have permission to tell you something? They would say, of course. And I might have an experience that
Right.
might align, might not align, but might open up their minds to looking at something.
Exactly. I have a running joke with my coach because when I get into something really big, and then he would say, "So, what would you like?" And I say, "Fix it." And then of course we laugh and we go into a coaching session. But but that's it. We're not fixers. People have to find their answers. But if we have help and enhance that thinking, then definitely that's what needs to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Or we don't, I know you're going to say, we don't, sometimes clients say, well, what should I do? And then they'll stop and they say, of course you're not going to tell me.
Well, see, but that's good they know it.
Yeah.
That's good they know it.
Yeah, they got to try anyway. So in the last minute that we have, how rosy is the future for coaching, do you think?
Oh, I think the future of coaching is just brilliant, absolutely brilliant, for a variety of reasons. One is that coaching is being much more accepted and many more people are aware of it. Second, what we talk about, that coaching is now available and accessible to much greater numbers of people. And there are still plenty who do not know what coaching is or how coaching can be utilized. And the fact that now individuals, for-profit organizations, not-for-profit organizations, governments are using coaching only means that the pie will be getting bigger and bigger. So I think that there is absolutely a brilliant future for coaching, and I'll say for professional coaching, and as guardians of these standards, we will be doing whatever we can as ICF so that message of professional coaching is sustained.
Okay, I'm going to tell you all to check out coachfederation.org if you want to learn more about ICF Global. And Terry Yoffe and Magda Mook, I can't think of a better way to spend a Tuesday evening. It's like, this is so exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's do this again in 6 months or something.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.